Python with AI from zero to hero. Hello everyone, my name is Victor Guo. I've been in information technology industry for over 20 years. Python is one of my favorite programming languages. I love it. This course is to help students in elementary and secondary schools to start Python programming. If you're adult and have no programming experience and want to start programming, this is for you as well. The course consists of a bite-sized series of videos. Each video will cover one topic in about 10 minutes or so. Some units may have pop quiz, so you can check your knowledge right away. The most interesting part would be, in my opinion, you can follow along the video and start to write code yourself. After you finish the course, you will write several Python programs. So first, why programming at all? Computers are fun and very useful. It gives you a power to bring an idea into real world. If you have an idea to solve a problem, you may build a website for it once you know how to do the programming. Many big things started small. Programming is kind of a communication. You may use natural language to test it to your friends. You could use a programming language to tell the computer what you want to do, and the computer will do exactly what you told it. In this case, we're going to use Python, a popular programming language. So, what is Python? Python is a general purpose and high-level programming language. First, it's a general purpose programming language. You can use Python to do a number of things, like website development, data analysis, gaming, etc. It's a high-level programming language, so you don't have to deal with hardware details. You can just focus on the problem you want to solve. Python has simplicity by design from very beginning. It's very easy to use. There's no strange syntax. Python can run on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Chances are you may already have a computer running on one of those operating systems, so you can start to write Python on your computer. Why Python is so popular? Python is easy for beginners, and it's very powerful for the experts. Let's take a look at how do we write Python code. Okay, here is my code editor. If I just type in print and then type in hello Python with AI, and then I can run it. So I will see the result, hello Python with AI. Once you learn how to print out a message, you may change the content, just type in whatever you want. You can say hello world. Okay, so you will see hello world. And then you may also see something different. Say, please enter your password to continue. Okay, so this could be part of your game program. For example, you may want to display a message, please enter your password to continue. So that is something you can do. Just use the print function. So who uses Python? Many technology companies, government agencies are using Python, like Google, YouTube, Instagram, NASA, Facebook, and now it's Meta. Many financial institutions, banks, insurance companies are using Python as well. Python can do lots of things. Here are a couple of quick examples. This is a hacker movie. Probably you see some things similar like this. A hacker tried to upload a virus into the computer systems. So we'll see lots of numbers going on. We could use Python to create a screen like this. So this is simulate the program try to connect to the system. It try to hack the password. Once it's connect to the server, and then it's try to upload the virus. And behind the scenes, here is the program that generated that screen. It's about 20 lines of code. Python is also very powerful tools in the data science and data visualization area. Data is the new gold. Data science is trying to find a value from vast amount of data. And the data visualization is trying to display data in a meaningful way so we can find the trending and patterns. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Image of black hole. The first image of a black hole. This is a project by NASA and international researchers. The interesting of this project is that image the M87 black hole is like trying to see something that is by definition impossible to see. And how this project works. So first, the team used a telescope the size of the Earth to capture massive amount of data. So one of the challenge of this project is the computational skills. It has a massive data that need to be processed. And the team using the Python ecosystem to process the large amount of data, to convert the data into image, and then eventually to simulate the image of the black hole. So Python play a big role in this project. Another example of data analysis and visualization is this pandemic research. So here is the pandemic data from governments of Canada. It contains the daily confirmed cases for different provinces. Just look at this raw data. It's hard to draw any information from it. It's not easy to read. It's not easy to understand the relation between those data. There's no quick way to identify the pattern. I create a little Python program to display the data in a graphic so we can get lots of information from the graphic. Okay, so I have a little Python program to convert pandemic data set into this chart. So you will see the blue line is the Ontario confirmed case, and the red line is the Quebec confirmed case. This graphic gives us a lot of rich information. So for example, this is the first wave of the pandemic. So you may be wondering, what's the cause to trigger the number going up? It turned out this is around the Halloween weekend. Another question could be triggered is, at the beginning of the pandemic, Quebec has the higher case than Ontario. But after a certain point, the Quebec case number is lower than Ontario. So you may wonder what public health measurement taken by Quebec government to lower the case. So with the graphic, we can get lots of information to identify patterns, trendings. It's very useful research tool. We can also use Python to do the website development to create a website. So we can use the Python to create an online store or any website that may be in your mind. Python is the most popular programming language in artificial intelligence and machine learning industry. It can process natural language, it can analyze the pictures, it can translate, can speak. So Python is very powerful tool in this area. I create a little program that can translate languages and speak. Let me run this a little translator program. So we can use this program to translate English to Spanish, French, or Chinese. Okay, so let's first select the language we want to translate to. So let's choose Spanish, and then we can type in English sentence.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
So the program first speak the sentence I'm just typed in.
Mi madre siempre decía que la vida era como una caja de bombones. Nunca sabes lo que vas a conseguir.
And then it translates English to Spanish and speak it out. And here is a Python program to do this. And it's about 20 lines of code. Okay, so we talk about what is Python, what Python can do. Now let's do a quick pop quiz. The first question is, can Python run on Windows and Mac OS? Okay, give you about 5 seconds to think about this. Probably you can write down your answer. Okay, the correct answer is yes. Yes, Python can run on both Windows operating system and Mac OS operating systems. Okay, next question. Python is a low-level programming language. You have to deal with different hardware. It's a true or false statement. Give you about 5 seconds to think about that. You may want to write down your answer and compare this with the correct answer. Okay, it's a false statement. Python is not a low-level programming language. Python is actually a high-level programming language, so you do not have to deal with different hardwares. You can just focus on the problem you need to solve, and Python manage the low-level stuff. Okay, the next question. What can you do with Python? Web development, natural language processing, data analysis, all of them? Okay, give you 5 seconds to think about that. Okay, great job. Yes, all of them. Python is a general purpose programming language. It can do lots of things, including web development, natural language processing, data analysis, and much more. Very good job. In next video, I'm going to show you how to install required software for Python programming so you can start to write your own Python program. Okay, see you next time. Thank you. Hello everyone. Welcome to Python with AI. This is Victor Guo. In this unit, I'm going to talk about Python installation. So you will learn what software is required for the Python programming. You will also learn how to install the required software so you can get your computer ready to start to write Python program. What do you need for Python coding? You will need 3 pieces of software. The first one is Python interpreter. You will need this software to run any Python program. It will also include libraries that are frequently used. The second one is Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a code editor or integrated development environment, IDE. You can use it for other programming languages as well. In theory, you can use any text editor for Python programming, but Visual Studio Code will make Python programming much easier. Plus, once you get familiar with the Visual Studio Code, you can use it for other programming such as web development, HTML, style sheet, etc. It's a free tool. It's also used by many professionals around the world. Once the Visual Studio Code in place, you also need to install Microsoft Python extension. It will help you to write Python code much quicker and much easier. You can install the software on Windows 10 or 11 or Mac OS. The Python code will be the same on Windows and on Mac OS. So first, let's install Python. So if you open up a google.com and search for Python download, you will see download Python in the search result. If you click on the link, it will take you to Python download page, which is www.python.org/downloads. And here you can click on download Python 3.10.0, which is the latest version at the time I make this video. If you're on Mac OS, it will say download the latest version for Mac OS. So just click on this link to download Python. Yeah, it will take a couple of minutes to download. Once it's downloaded, just open the file to do the installation. The installation is straightforward. You just need to follow the instruction on the screen. Make sure you check this add Python to pass. This is very important. This is allow you to run Python program from any folder locations. So make sure you check add Python to pass before you do the installation. This is very, very important. And then you just click on install now. It will take a couple of minutes to do the installation. Okay, now we got Python installed. Once we have Python installed, let's validate the installation. So in the search bar, just type in cmd to open up command prompt. On the Mac OS, you will need to open your terminal. I will show you in a separate video. In the command prompt window, you just need to type in Python -- version. And you should say Python 3.10.0 or whatever version you just downloaded. So you have successfully installed Python if you see this version number. Just exit out. Step 2. Install Visual Studio Code, which is the code editor we're going to use throughout this course. You can install Visual Studio Code on Windows operating system, Mac OS, or Linux. In Google, if you search for download Visual Studio Code, you should see the first link is download Visual Studio Code, Mac, Linux, Windows. Click on the link, it will take you to the Visual Studio Code download page. So it's a code.visualstudio.com/download. So here you can download the Visual Studio Code for Windows and for Mac OS. So I'm on Windows operating system. I'm going to download the Windows version. And there's two options here. One is the user installer. The other one is the system installer. If you log on to your Windows as a regular user, not administrator user, you can use the user download installer. You can use user installer. If you're administrator on your computer, you can use system installer. So I'm the administrator on this computer, so I'm going to use system installer. It will take a minute or so to download Visual Studio Code setup program. Once it's downloaded, just open it up and run the setup program. So here is the license agreement. Just click on accept agreement and then click on next. And then this is the location of the installation. I'm just going to take the default installation path. And this will set up a shortcut for Visual Studio Code. Okay, and then click on install. It will take a couple of minutes to install Visual Studio Code. Okay, now we have Visual Studio Code installed on this computer. So just click on finish. It will launch the Visual Studio Code. So this is a Visual Studio Code, and this is the Get Started page. Just close it. Step 3 is to install Microsoft Python extension for Visual Studio Code. Microsoft Python extension for Visual Studio Code is a plugin to help you program Python much quicker and easier. In Visual Studio Code, on the left-hand side, there's a menu bar, and this is the marketplace. It has 4 blocks. Okay, just click on marketplace. It will show the extension in the market. So let's do a search. Just type in Python. Looking for Python from Microsoft. Click on install. It will install Python extension for Visual Studio Code. So now I have Python extension installed in Visual Studio Code. Okay, great. So now you have a Python interpreter installed on your computer. You also have Visual Studio Code and Python extension installed. So you have all the software you need to start Python programming. Well done. So you have installed the software required for Python programming. You have installed Python interpreter, which is required to run any Python program. You have installed Visual Studio Code, which is the code editor we're going to use for Python programming. Visual Studio Code can also be used for many other programming languages as well. And Microsoft Python extension will help you to program Python much faster and efficient. Now you're ready to go. In next video, I'm going to show you how to use Visual Studio Code to write Python program. See you next time. Bye guys. Hello everyone. Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Python required software on Mac OS. If you are using Windows, you can watch my another video that shows you how to install Python on Windows operating system. You will learn what software is required for Python programming. You will also learn how to install required software. What do you need for Python coding? You will need Python interpreter, which is the application that you need in order to run Python program. You will also need a Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor or integrated development environment IDE. In theory, you can use any text editor to write Python code, but using the Visual Studio Code, it will be much efficient and convenient to create a Python program. Visual Studio Code is a free software. It's used by professionals around the world. You can also use it for other programming languages as well, such as web development. You will also need Microsoft Python extension, which is plugin for Visual Studio Code. It will help you to write Python code much quicker and efficient. You can install software on Windows and also Mac OS, and the coding will be the same. Okay, so step 1, let's install Python. So if you open up Google and search for download Python, you will see download Python from python.org. Just click on the link. It will take you to the Python download page, which is python.org/downloads. And here you can see download the latest version for Mac OS. And just click on download Python. It will take a minute or two to download Python depending on your internet connection. Once you have it download, just click on open. And it will launch the installation screen. And just follow on the instruction on the screen. The installation should be very straightforward. Just click on continue. And continue again. Okay, and agree the license. And click on install. And you will need to type in the administrator password. And click on install software. It will install Python. It says Python was successfully installed. Just click on close. Once we install the Python, we don't need to keep the installation file, so we can move the installation file to the trash. To validate the testing, we will need to open up the terminal. Click on Finder, Application, and looking for Utilities. And in Utilities folder, looking for Terminal. And type in Python 3 -- version. You should see Python 3.10.0 or whatever version you just downloaded. Once you see the version number, you have successfully installed Python. Step 2 is to install Visual Studio Code on your computer. Just Google for download Visual Studio Code. You should say download Visual Studio Code, Mac, Linux, Windows. Open up the link. You should get download Visual Studio page. You can download Visual Studio Code for Windows and Mac OS. I'm going to install Visual Studio Code on Mac OS. Okay, once download finished, just open it up. It will unzip the file and launch the installation. When you see this message window, Visual Studio Code is an application downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? Just click on Open. Okay, so now you have Visual Studio Code installed on your computer. Step 3. install Microsoft Python extension. So this is a plugin for Visual Studio Code. It will help you to build a Python program faster and efficient. In Visual Studio Code, on the left-hand side, there's a menu bar, and looking for marketplace icon, there are 4 boxes. So click on extension and type in Python, hit enter. You should see Python from Microsoft. This is the extension we want to install. Just click on install. And this will install Python extension for Visual Studio Code. Okay, now you have a required software installed on your Mac OS. You have installed Python interpreter. You also installed a Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor we're going to use for Python programming throughout the course. You also installed Microsoft Python extension for Visual Studio Code. It will help you to create Python programming much easier. Okay, now you have all the software you need for the Python programming. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to use Visual Studio Code to write your first Python program. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to write your first Python code. You can write Python in different ways. You will learn how to run Python in console. You will also learn how to run Python in Visual Studio Code. So let's start with the Python console. I'm on Windows. So in search window, I just need to type in cmd to open up command prompt. If you are using macOS, you will need to click on Finder, Utilities, and open up the terminal. So now I'm in command prompt. So just need to type in Python, enter. So now I'm in Python console. From here, I can type in Python code. Let's start with a very simple one, print. And I have a parenthesis and a single quotation, and type in hello world, and then closing quotation and closing a parenthesis, and then hit enter. And now it displays hello world. You can also type in hello Python with AI. Okay. Enter. And if you type in 2 plus 2, it will give you 4. So here you can type in Python statement in Python console. To exit out, you just need to type in exit, parenthesis, enter. It will back to command prompt. So Python console is very useful quickly to test the Python statement. But it will not save your code. So whatever you type in the console, once you exit of the Python console, the code will not be saved. Just be aware of that. Okay, let's take a look at another way to run Python. We're going to use Visual Studio Code. So again, bring up the Windows search and type in Visual Studio Code and open up the Visual Studio Code. In Visual Studio Code, click on File, Open Folder, and then you will need to navigate to the folder that you want to create your Python program. I'm going to create a folder on C drive. You can also create a folder on D drive or whatever drive you want to use to store your Python program. Right click on the empty space and new to create a new folder. I call the folder PWA. And then I select the folder name and select folder. Okay, now we see the PWA folder open in the Visual Studio Code. I can close up the get started screen. And here there's an icon to add a new file. So here I can just type in the file name. You can name the file name the way you want, but just remember to put .py as the file extension, since in that way the Visual Studio Code will know it's a Python program. Okay, so now we are in the editing window. So we can just type in print and then quotation, hello world. And if we click on this play button on the top right corner, it will automatically save the change and also run Python program. And the result will be displayed in the terminal underneath. So we'll see here, hello world. We can also change the statement if we want. Say, hello Python with AI, exclamation mark, and then click on run button. It will automatically save the changes and also execute the Python program. Okay. And let's check the file. So if I hover over hello.py file, right click, and then select review in File Explorer, and it will open up the File Explorer, and you will see the file actually stored on your computer. Okay, so you can keep working on the same file if you need. Okay, this is how we write Python program using Visual Studio Code. So you can see here, it's much easier to manage many Python programs in Visual Studio Code. We can organize the file properly in the folder. Visual Studio Code provides many features to help writing Python code more efficiently. We will see this later on. And code as a pro. Okay, so in this short video, you have learned different ways to run Python program. And you have write your very first Python program in Visual Studio Code. You have learned how to organize your Python program folders and the file properly. Very good job. Thank you for watching. I will see you in next video. Bye. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, I'm going to talk more about print function. So in the previous video, we already used the basic form of a print function. So what is a function? A function is a building block. It can perform a specific task. Print is a function. Print function can take one or more parameters. We have seen the print function take one parameter. We're going to see how print can take multiple parameters. Print function outputs a string. Let me bring up my Visual Studio Code. In Windows search bar, just type in Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio will open the same folder as you left before. So now I'm going to create a new file. Just click on New File icon. I'm going to call the file moreprint.py. It's very important to name your file with .py as a file extension. As such, Visual Studio will know it's a Python program. Now we can start typing print function hello world. Okay, we've seen this before. And click on this play button to run the Python program. Okay, we see hello world in the terminal window. We could also use the double quotation to wrap the string. It will be the same as the single quotation. For example, I can use print double quotation hello Python with AI. I can run this. It will be the same. Print function can also take multiple parameters. I can use I drink. This is the first parameter, and there's the comma to separate another parameter. 3 is a number, so I don't need to use the quotation to wrap it. Just type in 3 there. Cups of water daily. Hey. In this case, print function takes 3 parameters separated by a comma. The first parameter is the string. The second parameter is the integer. So there's no quotation wrapper around. And the third parameter is a string again. So here is the output. I drink 3 cups of water daily. So you can see the print function just merges 3 parameters as a sentence. Python is case sensitive, which means the uppercase has a different meaning than the lowercase. So for example, the print with the capital P is not the same as the print with lowercase p. They are 2 different names. What happens if I type in print with capital P? Visual Studio Code is very smart. It will display a line saying, I don't recognize the name print with capital P. Do you want to use print function with lowercase p? Okay, so you just click on print if you want to use the print function. So Python is case sensitive. You need to be very careful about case. Try to use the right case. So there are a couple of common scenarios you may want to use print function. First one, display result. You can display the program result to the user, use the print function. You could also use the print function for debugging purpose. If you build a complex program, you want to see how the program running, you can use the print function to display the status of the program. So we will use this feature later on. Okay, now we know how to use the print function. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. How do we print out this message? I'm so happy. Okay, so you can see here there's a single quotation as part of the message. We could use the double quotation to wrap this message around. I'm using print, and I'm going to use a double quotation since it's a single quotation as part of the message. So I can use the double quotation to wrap the message around. And then I can type in, I'm so happy. Right? And then I click the play button. So here, I'm so happy. Okay. So if there's a single quotation as part of the string, then you could use the double quotation to wrap the whole string. And take a look at this example. Aloha is hello in Hawaii. So now the double quotation is part of the string. How do we display this message? Since there's a double quotation as part of the message, so we could use a single quotation to wrap the message. Okay, let's try that. Print. I'm going to use a single quotation, and then I can just type in Aloha is hello in Hawaii. So let me clean up my terminal, just type in clear, and then I can run the program. Okay, so Aloha is hello in Hawaii. Perfect. Here is another example. How do we print out this message? She says, yeah, that's right. Okay, now let's take a look at this message. The message itself has double quotation and a single quotation. So how do we display this message? This is a new situation. Okay, there's a solution. We need to use the concept called the escape character. So we could use a double quotation to wrap the message around. And for the double quotation as part of the message, we can put this a backslash to indicate it's actually part of the content. We have another double quotation as part of the content, so we can put a backslash. Okay, so this is called escape character. Why it's called an escaped character? So when the Python starts to see the double quotation, is try to looking for the closing double quotation. And when the Python program see this double quotation with escape character, it will escape this quotation. It will say, oh, it's not the closing quotation. I'm going to looking for another one to pair the opening quotation. So it keeps searching. And now it says this is a double quotation with escape character. It will escape this and then keep looking. Now the Python sees the double quotation and will use it as a closing quotation. Okay, so to properly format the string, we will need to have a quotation at the beginning, and then we will have a closing quotation to pair the open one. If there's a quotation in between as part of the content, we could use the escape character, the backslash. Okay, let's try this. So here I'm going to type in print. I'm going to use a double quotation to wrap the content. Start to typing. She says, comma, backslash, double quotation. This double quotation is part of the content. That's right. And then backslash, double quotation here. Okay. And let me clean up my console and run the program. Now we have the message. She says, yeah, that's right. What if we need to output a message in multiple lines? Here is an example. Here is a sentence on multiple lines. How do we tell Python to start a new line at the right place? We could use a \n. \n means a new line. So if we print out this message and then put a couple of new line in the string, Python will start a new line at the place of the \n. Okay, let's try this out. Print. Here is a sentence. Okay, so if I want to start a new line, I can put a \n and then \n here as well. Okay, so clean up my terminal and run the program. So now we have, here is a sentence on multiple line. So wherever you put a \n, Python will start a new line. Okay, summary. So you can use print function to write text output. You can use escaped character in print if there are special characters. You can print a single line and multiple line. Good job, everyone. So hope you can follow along and put your hands on code, enjoying the coding so far. Thank you for watching. See you in next video. Bye. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you watch this video. Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, you will learn how to use variables, a very important concept of Python programming. What are variables? Variables are containers for storing data in computer memory. You can store the data in the variable. You can also change the data stored in the variable. Here are a couple of examples. Movie is a variable. Lion King is the data that's stored in the variable. Name is a variable. Drake is the data that's stored in the variable. Weight is the variable. 95 is the data stored in the variable. So how do we use variables? The general process of use a variable is 2 steps. First, you define a variable. Then you use the variable. For example, you can define a variable movie and store data Lion King into the variable. And then you can use the print function to take that variable as an input and display the content in the variable. Okay, let's bring up a Visual Studio Code and try this. So I'm going to create a new file, call it variables.py. Okay, so here I can define a variable called movie, and store data in the variable, and then we can print out the data that's stored in the variable. So if I run this, we will see Lion King in the terminal. Pretty straightforward. There's another example to use variables. So first, we define a variable radians, and the data is 10. And then we use the variable to do the calculation and store the result in another variable parameter. Then we use the print function to display the data stored in the parameter variable. So let's start define radians as a variable, and the value is 10. We're going to store the parameters in the variable 2 times 3.14 times radians, and the result will be stored in parameter variables. And then we can print out the data stored in the variable. And run the program, and here is the result, 62.8. You may be wondering why there's so many zeros there. Python will do some rounding internally, so that's why you see so many zeros there. Variable name. How do we name variables? There's a certain rules we need to follow when we define a variable name. A variable name must start with a letter. It could be uppercase, could be lowercase, or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. This is very similar as when you create an email address. You need to follow certain rules to create an email address. Variable names are case sensitive. For example, age with all lowercase, age with uppercase A, age with all uppercase are 3 different variables. Let's take a look. So we can define a variable called age, or lowercase. We store value 1, and then age with capital A, and the value is 2, and age with all uppercase, and the value will be 3. And then we can display them. Age, another age, another age. Okay. So if I print the age variables, you will see there are different values. So they are different variables. If I use the same variable name, okay, so we store value 1 into the age variable, and later on we change the value to 2, and then we change the value to 3. So when we print age, we should say 3. Okay, so here's number. So we can store data in variable. We can change the data stored in the variable, and then we can display the data in the variable. Here are a couple of examples of valid variable names. Total underscore number, underscore language underscore code, input 2. They are all valid variable names. Here are a couple of examples of invalid variable names. 2 total numbers. A variable name cannot start with a number. Language dash code. Dash cannot be part of the variable name. My name. There's a space. You cannot use space as part of the variable name. Variable should have a meaningful name. It will make your program easier to read and understand. So for example, radians and movies are good variable names. It's very easy to understand the purpose of those variables. Those are horrible variable name, xstr. So it's really hard to know what's the purpose of those variables. Fancy printing. We can use the print function with the variables. For example, we can have a variable called movie, and we store the Lion King in the movie variable. And we use the print function. We use the f string formatting. So f stands for f string formatting. it will be at the beginning of the quotation. And this is a variable name surrounded by curly bracket. It's kind of a placeholder. When Python run it, this placeholder will be replaced by the value that we store in this variable. Okay, let's try this. Movie equals to Lion King. And we use the F string printing. So we start with F and then put quotation. And we use this curly bracket, and then we put a variable name inside. When Python executes this statement, the placeholder will be replaced by the value that we store in the variable. Okay, let me run this program. So here we see the output. My favorite movie is Lion King. So the movie will be replaced by the value that we store in. This is another example of fancy print. So we have two variables, radians and perimeter. And we use this print function. And we say the perimeter of a circle with radius placeholder is this, another placeholder. And Python will replace the placeholder with the value. And here radians will be replaced by the value that we store in the radians variable. Parameters will be replaced by the value that we store in this variable. Okay, let's try this. As we already have the two variables defined, we can just change the print function. Print, again, start with F formatting, and then we put the quotation. Okay. The perimeter of a circle with radius. And we use the curly bracket, and we store, and we put variable name here is another placeholder. Okay, and we can remove this. Okay, so here we have a print function, use the F formatting string. And then we have two placeholders here, and the placeholder will match the name of the variable. They will be replaced by the value stored in the variable. Okay, clean up the terminal and run the program. So now we see the output. The parameter of a circle with radius 10 is 62.8. Comment statement. Comment statement is also very helpful. Comment statement start with hashtag character. Comment statement helps you to remember, understand what your code is doing. Especially if you need to revisit your code a couple of weeks later, it will help you to understand or remember what's the purpose of your code. Comments will not be executed by computer. So for example, I can put comments for this program. So at the beginning, I can use the hashtag. This is a demo for variables. And I can also add other comments here. This is to calculate perimeter of a circle. Okay, so with comments, it will help me to remember what's the purpose of this program and why I write this code and why I write this code. And if I run this, it will be the same result. The comments will not impact the program execution. Rather, it's just a couple of notes to help you to remember the purpose of your program. It's actually very helpful. Okay, a quick summary of this unit. In this unit, we talk about variables. Variables are used to store data in computer memory. It's a fundamental concept of Python programming. Good variable naming is very important. It will make your program much easier to read and understand. You can use variables in print function. Comments make your code easier to read and understand. It's just like a note you add into your program. Good job! So you have learned how to use print function in Python and how to use variables. Hope you're getting comfortable with Python programming. There's more interesting things coming. See you in next video. Hello everyone. Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. This is a coding exercise. We will work together to create a little program called self-introduction. So we want to display a self-introduction message like this. Hi, my name is Tina. I'm in grade 7. You should use variables for your name and grade. Okay, let's bring up the Visual Studio Code. Let's create a new file for it. Let's call the file self-intro.py. First, let's add our comments so we know the purpose of this program. Self-introduction. We need to create two variables, one for name, the other one is for grade. Name, Tina, grade 7. Since grade is a number, so we don't need to put a quotation around. And then we can use the print function f format string to display the self-introduction message. Print f and then quotation, say hi. My name is, and we use the variable names here. I'm in grade, and then use the grade variable here. Okay, so now we have the program. And run the program. So we can see the result is here. Hi, my name is Tina. I'm in grade 7. You can easily replace the name and grade, so you'll get a different self-introduction message. For example, say James, and then grade 8. Just change the value in those variables, you will get a new self-introduction message. Okay, hey, my name's James. I'm in grade 8. Okay, good job. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, let's work together to create this MATLib game Python program. Have you played MATLib? It's a fun game where you ask another person to give you different kind of words like colors, numbers, adjectives, etc. to fill in a blank of a short story that they cannot see. After you're done asking the other person for their word choice, you read the whole story back to them using the words that they give you. Sometimes the story can get really funny. So knowing that, you can use the f string to replace parts of the string. Let's write a program that will output your silly story with the words your friend gives you. Okay, let's open up the Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a new file for MATLib game. I will just call it matlibs.py. I will start with a comment for the purpose of this program. Okay. I will create a couple of variables to store the words that I'm going to ask for my friends. Name, adjective, favorite, number, type of tree. And then I'm going to create a variable called the silly story to store the story template. The story won't be able to fit into one line, so it will be displayed in multiple lines. In order to do that, I can use a technique called the triple quotation. Okay, so the triple quotation will maintain the lines. Whatever you type in here, that can be displayed in the same way as it's displayed here. Since we're going to replace the silly story template with the words from our friends, so we can use the F string. So we just need to add F string in front of it. And then we start to write our silly story template. You can also come up with your own silly story template. Say, hi, my name is, and then we will replace the name with the word from our friends. I really like favorite snack. I like so much. I try to eat it at least number times every day. It tastes even better when you eat it under a type of tree. Okay, once you finish your silly story template, you can just print it out. Print silly story. Okay, so here is the little program. For example, name Victor, smelly ice cream, like 10, tree, maple. Okay, so now we got a couple of random words. Pretend we got from our friends or family members. And then let's run this program and see what story the program will create. Just click on this play button. Let's make the terminal bigger. Here is the silly story that the program created. Hey, my name is Victor. I really like smelly ice cream. I like it so much, I try to eat it at least 10 times every day. It tastes even better when you eat it and add maple. That's it. In this little Matlabs game, we use the print function, we use the F-string formatting, and the variables to store the words. We even use the comments to indicate the purpose of this program. Well done. Try to come up with your own silly story template and play with your family members. Enjoy it. See you in next video. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, I'm going to talk about input function. Input function allows users to input data into the program. So we already learned print function, so we can display the information to the user. Now, with the input function, we can take the data from the user and use that data in the program. So in that way, we can build an interactive between the application and the user. Isn't that how most of the software working today? Let's take a look at how do we use the input function. Input is the function name. First, it will display a message on the screen and waiting for the user to enter some information. Once the user types in data and hit enter, the data will be stored on the variable, in this case, choice. And then the program can get that information and display the information back or use that information for some other process. Okay, let me open up the Visual Studio Code and try this out. I'm going to create a new file. input.py, demo for input. First, I'm going to create a variable. It will store the user input, and I use the input function. The input function will display a message to the user. Please enter your choice from rock, paper, and scissors. And then we display the user's input back. Print. Your choice is okay, save it. We use the input function to display our message and waiting for the user input. Once the user input comes in, we store the information in the choice variable, and then we display the user's choice. Let me run this program. So first, the program displays a message. Please enter your choice from rock, paper, and scissors. And the program waiting for the user input. I'm going to type in rock and hit enter. And then the program display back, your choice is rock. Okay, let me try it one more time. Now the program display a message. Please enter your choice from rock, paper, scissors. I'm going to type in paper and enter. And now the program display your choice is paper. The input function always returns a string. So no matter what the user type in, the input function will always return a string. If the user type in number 1, 2, 3, those information are actually returned as a string, not a number. So if you are expecting a number, you will need to do a data conversion. So for example, the input function will display how many tickets do you need. Obviously, the program is expecting a number, either 1 ticket or 2 tickets, 3 tickets. It should be a number. The input function will always return a string. Okay. So if we want to use the number, so we need to use this int function to convert the user input into an integer and then store that data, in this case, in tickets variable. And then we can display the tickets variable. Okay, let's try this out. I'm going to create another file. I'm just call it int.py. So here I'm going to create a variable to store the user's response, and the input function will ask the user to type in some number. How many tickets do you want? And once we have the user response, we will need to convert the data into an integer. And then we can use this information in our program as an integer. In this case, I'm simply just display the information. Okay. Just clean up my terminal and then run the program. So the program display how many tickets do you want? Let's say I'm typing 3 and enter. And now the program display back, you want 3 tickets. If I run it again, the program will display how many tickets do you want? Let me say 8 and hit enter. And the program know the user wants 8 tickets. Similarly, if the program is expecting the user to enter some float number with decimal point, you can use the float function to convert user response into a float number, a number with decimal point. Okay, let's try this out. I'm going to create a new file called the float.py. And then we create a variable to store the user's response. We display a math question. 1.2 plus 2.3 equals to question mark. So we're waiting for the user to enter the answer. And then we convert answer into a float number. And we display back the information, print answer. Okay. Clean up terminal here. Okay, let's run the program. Okay, so here I'm typing 3.5 and hit enter. And the program will take the user response and convert it to a float and then display it. Okay, let's try to use the input function to build a little math quiz program. So the input function will display a simple math question and waiting for the user to provide answer. And then we convert the user's answer into an integer since it's a number. And here we have a variable correct answer to store the right information. And then we display back what's the correct answer and what's the user's answer. Okay, let's create a new file called the math quiz. Okay, and add a comment. Okay, and we create a variable to store users' answers. And we use the input function to display a simple math quiz question. Question 1, 12 times 6 equals to what? And then we convert user's input into an integer. So we use the int function to convert user's answer from string to integer. And create another variable to store the correct answer. And we display the information. And we display the correct answer. And we also display the student's answer so they can check if their answer is correct or not. Okay, so here is a little math quiz program. Okay, let's run this program. So here the program display question 1, 12 times 6 equals to what? If I type in 72 and hit enter, and the program will display the correct answer is 72. Your answer is 72. Okay, let's run it one more time. Okay, so the program display a simple math question. In this case, I'm going to type in 71 on purpose and hit enter. So here we will see the program display the correct answer is 72 and your answer is 71. So in that way you can check if your answer is correct or not. Let's expand this program a little bit. So let's try to add another question. Okay, so I can do this. I just make a copy and a paste here. And then we say question 2 is 12 minus 6. And then the correct answer should be 12 minus 6 as well. And then the rest should be the same. So the program displays the second question, 12 minus 6. And the user will provide answer and answer will be in string. So we use the int function to convert the string into an integer. And then this is the correct answer for question 2. And we display the correct answer and the user's answer. This is the same as the first question. Okay, let's try this out. So here is the first question. I'm typing 72 and hit enter. And the program display the correct answer is 72. Your answer is 72. And then question 2, 12 minus 6. Okay, I'm typing 6 and hit enter. And it's display correct answer is 6. Your answer is 6. As such, you can expand this math quiz program. For example, you can expand it to display 10 questions, and you can ask your family to play with this math quiz program. Quick summary. So now you have learned how to use input function to get user input. With input function, you can build an interactive between your program and the user. Input function always returns a string. If you expect a number, you can do the data conversion by using int or float. Good job. Hope you have a chance to do some coding and get familiar with the input function. See you in next video. Good morning, everyone. I just got my morning coffee. Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, we're going to work together to create a little chatbot program. The chatbot program will start a conversation, and the user will respond to the conversation, and then they will talk back and forth. The chatbot will work like this. The bot will start a conversation and ask, "What's your name?" And the user will provide a name. For example, in this case, Morioh. And the bot will use that information in the conversation and say, "Hello, Morioh. Nice to meet you. What's your grade?" Again, the user will provide a response, and then the bot will use that information in the conversation. So make the conversation relevant. And then this conversation can continue on and on. Okay, let's take a look at how do we do the implementation. So first, we may think about to use an input function to display a message and get user input. Once the user provides input, we can store that information in a variable. And then we can use that variable in the message. So that's the idea. So we're going to use an input function. We're going to use the variable. Okay, let's open up Visual Studio Code. So now we have Visual Studio Code opened. We don't see the folder that we used before. Let's open it up. Just go to File, go to Open Folder, and then navigate to the folder that you used to store your Python program. In my case, I'm using PWA. Select the PWA folder and click on Select Folder. Now it opens the folder and contains all the files that I created before. Okay, let me create a new file for this program. Just click on New File. I'm going to call it chatbot.py. I'm going to add a comment and to describe the purpose of this program. The bot will start a conversation. It introduces itself and asks the user's name. Let's do that. Name equals to, we use the input function to display the greetings. Hi, I'm Elisa. What's your name? And it will waiting for the user to respond. And the user name will be stored in the name variable, and we can use that name variable in the following conversation. And then the bot asks, "Hello." Okay, name. And we're going to use the F string. So the bot will use the username in this greeting. Nice to meet you. What's your grade? Okay, before we move on to add more conversation, let's test it. Make sure this part is working. So just play the program. And here we say, hey, I'm Elisa. What's your name? Let's type in a name here, Tina. And say, hello, Tina. Nice to meet you. What's your grade? 6. Okay, it seems working. So now we can repeat this process, add more conversation. Just close the terminal. So now we have grade. Now we ask favorite color. Okay. So you are in grade 6. What's your favorite color? Okay. And then we keep on conversation. Okay, and we use the user's favorite color in the conversation. We need to use the F string to replace the message with the variable. Have you enjoyed coding so far? For the last conversation, we just display a message. We don't need the user's response, so we use the print function. Again, we're going to use the F string formatting. We use the variable here again. Okay, and save it. Now here is the little chatbot program. Okay, let's try this. So here, hey, I'm Lisa. What's your name? Let's say Morioh. Hello, Morioh. Nice to meet you. What's your grade? I mean 6. Okay, so you are in grade 6. What's your favorite color? I type in green. I like green too. Have you enjoyed coding so far? Yes. It's nice to know you, Morioh. See you soon. Perfect. Have you got your chatbot working? Good job if you make your chatbot program working. After you finish it, you may think about how to expand the chatbot program to have more conversations, or you can create your own scripts, and then you can play with the program with your family or friends and see what's their reactions. Hope you enjoy it. See you in next video. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, you will learn if statement, a very important and powerful technology in programming. So we can use if statement to solve complex rules. We can also use if statement to control the code execution flow. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of our daily life examples before we jump into the programming. So it's about decision on what action to take based on certain condition. For example, if it's sunny, I will go fishing. Go fishing is action you want to take, but it will depend on a condition if it's sunny. Another example is, if our team win this game, we will be in final. So the action is being final. Again, that also depends on condition if our team win this game. If we summarize the similar situation, it will be something like this. If certain condition is true, take this action. Else, take another action. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Leviathan. Leviathan is the highest roller coaster in Canada Wonderland. It has a height requirement. If you are taller than 54 inch, you can ride Leviathan. Otherwise, you cannot. How do we translate this in a Python if statement? It will be something like this. So we have a variable height to store the height of a person. And then we have this if statement. Say if is the keywords. If height greater than or equal to 54, then print yes, you can write Leviathan. Else, print sorry, maybe next year. Okay, so it said if condition check, if this condition is true, take this action. Else, take another action. Okay, guess what could be the output? Are we going to say yes, you can write, or are we going to say sorry, maybe next year? Okay, let's try this in Visual Studio Code. So here, just open the folder that I used before. Go to File, Open Folder, and then navigate to the folder I store all the Python programs. Select the folder. I'm going to create a new file. Call it Leviathan.py. Okay, add a comment here to describe the purpose of the program. Leviathan height checker. So we store our height, and then we use the if statement. I say if height is greater than or equal to 54. Then we say print yes, you can write Leviathan. Else, print sorry, maybe next year. Okay, and then let's try this out. Okay, so here is the result. Yes, you can write Leviathan. Let's see what happened here. Since the height is a 60 and this if condition is true, so Python will run print yes, you can write Leviathan. That's why we see it here. Okay, let's change its parameter. Let's say 50. Okay, and let's test it again. So now it says, sorry, maybe next year, because this condition is not true anymore. And Python will skip the if block, and it will run else block, print out, sorry, maybe next year. So that's what we see here. Okay, let's take a close look at the if-else structure. So if is the keyword. We need to have a condition here. It will be either true or false. And then we need to have a column at the end. After this, we call it an if block. And if block, it can have one statement or multiple statements. And then we need to have the indentation to indicate this part of the if block. So the indentation is very important. Similarly for else, there's a column here, and then we can have multiple statements in the else block if they have the same indentation. So the indentation is very important. To make a statement part of the else block, we need to have the proper indentation. Okay, let's try to use an if statement in this example, math quiz program. So what we need to do is, if the student's answer is correct, display well done. Otherwise, display correct answer. So we can make our program smarter, display different message based on the student's answer. How do we translate this into Python if statement? It will be something like this. First, so we display a math quiz question, and then we're waiting for the user to provide answer. We convert answer into an integer by using this int function. So now, in the if statement, we're checking if the user's answer is correct. If this condition is true, then we display well done. Else, we display the correct answer is 15. So we use the f string to display the correct answer. Previously, we used this curly bracket for variable names. The variable value will be displayed here. This is another way to use curly bracket. We can just put a little calculation here, and Python will display the result in this placeholder. Okay. So if you look at this if-else structure, it's very similar as the previous one. And the if condition is different, but structure is the same. So we're checking if the answer is 15. If yes, we display well done. Otherwise, we display the correct answer is 15. Okay, let's try this out in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a new file called math quiz version 2 py. We'll see. Add a comment to describe the purpose of the program. Math quiz version 2. Okay. And we start to display a quiz question. 3 times 5 equals to what? And then we use the int function to convert string into an integer. Now we use the if statement to check if the answer is correct or not. So we say if answer equal to 15. Then we print well done. Else print, we use the f formatting string. Correct answer is, we use this bracket, curly bracket here, and then Python can calculate and display the result in here. Okay, let's save it. Okay, so first we display a question and we take the user's answer and we compare the answer with the correct answer, and based on it's true or not, we will display different messages. Okay, and also we need to use the equal. This is to check if these two variables are the same. Okay, now let's run this. So here we see the question. Let me type in 15. Enter. So now I say well done. Okay. Okay, let's test it one more time. I can use my keyboard arrow up key to record the command we just executed. So if I use the arrow up key, it will record the previous command and it will run the program. So just hit enter. And now I'm typing 10, which is the incorrect answer. Okay, and then we want to test how our program responding to the incorrect answer. Hit enter. So now we see the correct answer is 15, and the program take different actions based on the condition. Okay, now let's review what happened here. So the first time when I type in 15 as answer, this condition is true. So Python will execute well done. The second time, I type in the answer as 10. So this condition is not true anymore. And then Python will skip the if block and it will execute the else block and display the correct answer is 15. Okay, let's add another statement here. Print. just add a little message. Thanks for using this program. If you notice here, this print statement does not have indentation. It starts right from at the very beginning, which means this statement is not part of the if-else block. It's outside. Okay. So the execution flow will be, if the answer is correct, we will say well done, and then we will say thank you for using this program. Okay. If the answer is not correct, we will say the correct answer is 15, and then we will say thank you for using this program. So we will see the last statement regardless of the condition, because the last print statement is outside of the if-else block. So the Python will always execute this statement. Okay, let's try this out. Okay, so here is the quiz question. Let me type in 15. And we say, well done, thanks for using this program. Okay, let me try it one more time. I use my arrow up key to record the command, and then hit enter to rerun this program. So now I'm going to type in 10, which is incorrect answer on purpose. Just want to test how the program responding to different answers. Hit enter. And then we say, your correct answer is 15, which is different than before. And we still say, thanks for using this program. Right? We want to display thanks for using this program all the time. Okay. So this is because the last print statement is outside of the if-else block, as it does not have indentation. If statement can control code execution flow. So the Python will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will run the statements within the if block and then continue on the rest of the program. If the condition is false, it will skip the if block and it will go to the else block and run all the statements within the else block. Once finished, it will continue on the rest of the program. So if statement can control the code execution flow. It will make the program smarter to take a different action, depends on the condition. Okay, a quick summary. You can use if statement to build complex rules. You can use if statement to control the code execution flow. And pay close attention to if statement structure. So there's an indentation. If the statement is part of the if block, it should have a right indentation. If statement is part of the else block, it should have a right indentation. If statement is very powerful. It can make your program smarter, so it can take different actions based on different conditions. Well done, folks. You have done lots of coding. Hope you enjoy it. Good job. Thanks for watching and see you in next video. Happy coding. Hello everyone. Welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. In this video, we're going to work together to create a smart quiz program. So what feature this program will have? It's very similar as the math quiz we created before, but with a couple of enhancements. This math quiz program will display 4 math questions, and it will automatically check the answer with the correct answer. It will tracking number of correct answers. And finally, it will display the final score. If you look at those features, we could use the input function to display questions and get response from the user. We could use the if statement to check the user's response against the correct answer. We could use variables to tracking number of correct answers. And then we can use the print function, especially using F formatting string to display the score. Okay, let's open up Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a new file, call it smarterquiz.py. I'm going to add a comment to describe the purpose of this program. Smarter math quiz. I'm going to use input statement to display the first question. make it very simple. And then we convert string into an integer by use this int function. Create a variable to store the correct answer for this question. Okay, now we have information ready. Then we can use the if statement to check if the answer is correct. Remember, we need to use this equal equal. It will compare if two variables are the same. If it's a correct answer, we display well done. Otherwise, we display the correct answer. We're going to use a f-string formatting. Since we have a variable for the correct answer, we can just use that variable. Now, this is the first question. Before we add more questions, let's test it, make sure this part is working. This is a very common practice. We write a couple of lines of code and we test it, make sure it's working before we add new features. Okay, save it and just test it and make sure this part is working. Now we see the first question. And I type in 7, enter, and it says, well done. Okay, looks it's working. I can also test how the program responding to incorrect answer. Let's try it again. So now I'm going to type in 6 on purpose. And then we say the correct answer is 7. So the program responding differently based on the answer. Okay, looks this part is working. Now we can do the same for the other questions. Actually, I can copy paste the code and just change the questions. So just copy this code and put it here. So this is another block. So here I can add a comment. I can say question 2. And the first block is question 1. Okay, so in that way, we can easily identify the purpose of the code. Okay, so here we can change the question. Let me do 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3. Obviously, we need to update the correct answer here as well. Okay, with that, I think we're good. Now let's test this part. Okay, so we see the first question. Type in 7, enter. It says well done. And then the second question, just for testing purpose, I'm going to enter a wrong answer. Okay, so now I got the first question correct and I got second question wrong. Okay. Also, I need to update the question number. Okay, let's go to update. So here it should say question 2. Okay, now we got 2 questions working. Let's repeat this process and add another 2 more questions. I just need to copy here. And then this is a question 3. I need to update the question number and come up with a new question. Let's say 2 times 8. And then we need to update the correct answer. 2 times 8. I think that's it. And now we know it's working, so we can repeat this process to add question 4. Okay. Probably you'll notice here, I add a couple of empty lines, so make the code easier to read. Okay, and then I need to change to question 4, change the question number to question 4, and then change the question itself. Let's say 10 divided by 5. Update the correct answer. 10 divided by 5. Okay, save it. So now we have question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4. Okay, let's test this. So now we see the first question, let's say 7. Okay, and the second question, let me type in 2. I type in the wrong answer on purpose. I just want to test the program can properly responding to correct answer and incorrect answer. Okay, so if the answer is not correct, it will display the correct answer. Question 3, let's say 16. In this case, well done. 10 divided by 5, which is the fourth question. And then type in 2, and then well done. Okay, so now we have the basic features working. Now let's check. So we implement basic functions. We can display 4 math questions. We automatically check the answers against the correct answer. Okay, let's think about how do we add tracking feature and display final score feature. Okay, in order to tracking how many correct answers we have, we need to use a variable. Before we start the quiz, let's create a variable called counter. And counter will tracking number of correct answers. At the very beginning, we start with 0. But how do we increase the count? We increase the count only if the user responds the correct answer. So it should be part of the if condition, right? So if the answer is correct, then we need to increase the counter. Else, we do not need to increase the counter. So we only increase the counter if the answer is correct. So we need to add it here. So it should be part of the if block. So counter should be counter plus 1. So basically we will increase the counter by 1 if the answer is correct. Okay, so now we can do the same for the question 2. So here we have a question 2. We only need to increase the counter if the question 2 is correct. So we add it here. And similarly, we can add to question 3 and 4. Just here, we need to be really careful about the indentation because print function and the count function are all part of the if block. So they need to be aligned together and they need to have the proper indentation here. Okay, save it. So now we have this. How do we display the final score? Okay, so here at the end of the program, we say print. We could use the format string to display the final score. And we can type in just simply display the counter as final score. Please note, the last print function is starting from at the very beginning. So it's outside of the if-else block because we want to run the last print function all the time. So it's outside of the if-else structure. It has to be starting from the very beginning. There's no indentation here. Okay, so now we add a variable, and the variable start with 0. We use this variable to tracking number of correct answers, and we increase the count only if the question is correct. And we do the same for question 1, 2, question 3, and then question 4. Okay, and finally, we display the score. Okay, let's test this out. So we got 4 questions in total. Let's start with the first question. I typed 7. I got it correct. Let's type in 2. Okay, so I missed this question. And then the third one, 16. I got it correct. The last one, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so now the final score is 3. Okay, so there's 4 questions total. I got all the answers correct except question 2. So that's the 3 questions I got correct. Okay, that's why we see final score is 3. Okay, now same is working. Perfect. Okay, hope your smarter math quiz program working as well. So in this little program, we're using the input function to display math questions. We're using if statement to checking if the answer is correct. We use the counter variable to tracking number of correct answers. And then we use the print function to display the final score. If you need, you can always pause the video, rewind, and watch it again, and make your little smarter math quiz program working. Good job, happy coding, and see you in my next video. Hello everyone, welcome to Python with AI. I'm Victor Guo. Congratulations! Believe it or not, you have just finished Python with AI level 0. You have learned how to install software for Python development. You have learned how to use print function, input function. You have learned the data conversion, variables. You also learned how to use if statement. You build a couple of programs from very simple one to someone a little bit complicated like chatbot, math quiz, or even smarter math quiz program. You have learned a lot, yet there are a lot to learn. After you get comfortable with Python and programming in general, what could be the next? Python with AI consists of multiple levels. In level 1 Python basics, we will continue to learn Python fundamental technologies, such as numbers, arithmetic operators, logical comparison operators, more flow control. We will learn loop and graphic and animations. Level 2 Python Advanced, we will learn more advanced Python programming technology so we can handle large amount of data. We will learn data type, how to handle file system. We will learn classes, JSON, and we'll start to learn algorithms such as recursion, binary search. Once we learn advanced technology, so we can create a video game and we can do data analysis. Level 3 Python Web. In level 3, we will learn website development. We're going to use Django framework. We will learn HTML and basic database operations. So we will build different type of a website, including online store. In level 4, we will focus on artificial intelligence. We will learn artificial intelligence algorithm such as search algorithm, optimization, supervised learning, and neural network. We will build Python to build much smarter programs. The courses consist of lots of code demo, so we will see how we build a program from scratch. And there's also a pop quiz, just as we do in the level 0. That's the quick way to check your knowledge. There will be a lot of hands-on codings. In my opinion, that will be the most interesting part. You can also join the group projects, work with your team member to work on interesting projects, to solve different problems and practices different Python technologies. Would Python help me in long run? Python is one of the most popular programming language in university in US and Canada. Python is also one of the most popular programming languages in the real life, and the trending is growing. See how other students have enjoyed the Python with AI courses.
Hi, my name is Karen. I'm currently in level 2 of Mr. Guo's Python with AI class. I just passed level 1 where we learned things like modules, turtles, loops, and so much more. I like Mr. Guo's classes because he's a very good teacher. His course outlines very clear and organized and always teaches his material very thoroughly. Whenever we have questions, he always patient to answers, and every week we also have a homework question session where we can ask help for anything. My favorite part of the course is at the end of a level where we are put into groups to accomplish a group task such as making a game or analyzing large amounts of data. All in all, his courses are very interesting and challenging, and I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. Happy coding.
My name is Chris Tsung. I really like the PWA program. Like, it starts right from the basics, and it goes way up to the advanced stuff, and it lays down a really good foundation.
Firefighters Python pre-level 3 project presentation. Okay, so as you can see, the window pops up, and I press go. So see, as you move, I can shoot the fireball, and also see, and it destroys the cars.
Hi, in level 2, I'm currently learning how to add, create, and put input text into files without even opening them. I am also currently learning how to analyze data using VS Code. What I like most about Mr. Guo's lesson is that he's patient and inclusive. And during the lessons, he creates small quizzes to ensure that we're paying attention.
Hi, I'm Lily from Mr. Guo's Level 2 Python class. Firstly, we get a lot of freedom. So basically, we get a lot of choice on what platform we can use, and he basically leaves everything to our own hands, which as teenagers, we really enjoy having this freedom and choice. There's always something new and exciting to learn about in his classes. We get taken step by step, which is quite simple, and we really understand the concept at the end of the day.
My name is Ryan Fang, and I'm currently a student of Mr. Guo's Python with AI Level 3. I created a Discord server for the members of Python with AI, and it's always great to see everyone cooperating and having a good time.
We decided to make classes for this one. So you now have the enemy class and then the sound management.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Deng, and I'm currently learning Python with AI Level 3 with Mr. Guo. For the fire hydrant analysis, the requirements are to load the JSON file into the Python dictionary, and then to calculate the distance for each fire hydrant. My favorite times of class are when we expand on the background of coding or the specific topic we are on.
Hello, my name is Tony. So I've been taking this class for a few months now and I really enjoy it. You get to learn a lot, such as creating mini games and creating a graph. There's some projects you could do with some group mates. We created games such as Hangman and Snake. We created a graph about how much people got infected with COVID each month.
I'm currently in level 3, which means I've been learning for quite a long time. I really did learn a lot of things about computer programming, such as game design and website development and many more. My favorite part of this course is the diversity of its assignments. We really get to work on a lot of different projects and touch on basics of many other areas, such as cybersecurity. Personally, I really like Mr. Guo's teaching style because although it's very slow-paced, he explains everything clearly and makes sure that we understand why is it that we're writing each piece of code.
So my favorite part of the class is the teaching style because I find it's really, really effective at helping you learn the concepts of coding.
I have learned many things in Python class. I learned how to use Python in real-life scenarios. Last, I learned how to create basic websites using Python and Django mixed together. I think that Python is extremely useful for the future.
Hi, my name is Felix. I'm in grade 10 and I've been taking Python with AI from level 1 to level 3 currently. So overall, I really enjoy taking this course. I started Python with AI with zero background knowledge. My favorite part of this course would have to be the projects because there is a big creativity aspect to it. Once you get your code to finally work, it's really rewarding and satisfying.
Hello, my name is Juliana. I am in grade 7 and am currently in the level 3 course of Python. The classes are very interesting and thorough with step-by-step instructions on how to complete the homework.
If you are interested in learning more Python programming, please visit pythonwithai.com. There you can find more information about courses and schedule. Thank you for joining the Python with AI Level 0. Hope you enjoyed Python, happy coding, and see you soon.